So the piece is taken some systems from an instrument that I'm studying at the moment, and this is the Txalaparta, and it's a Basque percussion instrument, and it's essentially a really large xylophone. It's played by two people, and it's played sort of in tandem. So the basic rule of this instrument is that one partner has two strikes and the other partner has two strikes, and sort of near the twain meet. And there's an amazing kind of pursuit of like unity and sounding as a singular unit. And over the course of kind of studying this instrument, and I've got one on loan in my house that I'm playing with my partner, as a sort of whatever kind of musical training you have, it's a really frustrating and kind of rewarding process of playing this instrument where you're one side of someone else's perception. And I guess that's, to an extent, that's what all music is, but when you're trying to play the same instrument in time and with sort of even production, you can start saying like, wow, you've been really late there, and you're not holding the stick properly. It's like, well, I think you're really late there. And it's been despite however great a musician you think you are, it's really humbling to really share that activity completely honestly with someone. And that kind of inspired me to take some of these systems from the music of the Txalaparta and kind of give them to a group of improvisers, and I kind of wanted to listen and observe what they did with it. So the piece essentially had three kind of areas that we moved from, one of which was a drone. So in the kind of traditional settings, these performances were sort of preceded by animal horns, so I kind of wanted there to be a sense of sort of grounding from this drone, and it kind of gave a layer for these rhythms to operate on top of. The second movement, the second sort of area was a rhythm called the kirikokata, which is a sort of precursor of the Txalaparta, and it's a single board and it's played by 3 people, and it's got a rhythm that goes kiri-ko-ke-ta, 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 ko-ke-ta, ko-ke-ta. So we split up in between 2 people, so someone's on the kiri and someone's always on the ko. And I kind of left that up to the pairs to kind of choose how they wanted to take it. And that kind of gave us our ground rhythm for the piece, so that was a sort of constant. And the third area that I gave each pair was the kind of the traditional game of the Txalaparta, and this is like the first thing I really learned to do on the instrument. And as I said before, that you have 2 series of strikes that you can make and then your partner makes. And in the kind of sort of base form of the music, and it's considered like a game. It would have been played at sort of celebrations. One person is a role called Ttakun, and that was one of the words you heard Georgia and Anna saying. So the Ttakun keeps a steady beat, and it's like Ttakun, Ttakun. So the kun is like the heavy beat. That person is keeping the time. And the other role is a person called an erina, which means to limp. And they are joining in this kind of this pattern of a whole, but they also have a little bit of agency to sort of fuck it up a bit and kind of give it a little bit of a swing or drag it back. So you've got this kind of dual operation in that game where you really want to kind of get that feeling of like swinging together or being on a roll, and that's what the name Ttakun-er is. It's the verb to kind of have that constant roll. But then I think musically as well, you really like the instinct to be like, I'm going to just do this little thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
And I really wanted to give that to people and see what they did with it. And we had like 3 really different interpretations of that, which is really nice to see because it's something I've been struggling with for a few months. Yeah. So those were the basic sort of 3 areas, and we cycled through them with every pair in the group kind of being at a different point in that. So we sort of heard 3 in tandem throughout the whole piece.
And you've been studying this instrument with somebody in the Basque part of Spain?
Yes, so by Zoom, yeah.
Yes.
So it's I've been subject to Zoom lessons, which has been really fun. So we set up this an enormous instrument in our lounge and sort of had the laptop at the end of it and sort of rigged up mics and stuff. So we have a teacher called Enai Gambra. He's from Pamplona in Navarra, which is in the Basque country, and he's really generously offered to sort of teach us in sort of very broken English and even more broken like Spanish how this instrument works. And yeah, it's been really fun kind of couple of months over lockdown trying it.
The little bit of the video you showed of them performing, the Spanish or the Basque people, they seemed quite competitive. Was that a false impression of mine?
Perhaps. I mean, the performers that play this instrument, they have to play together. You really pick up on the idiosyncrasies of your partner, and it is you two playing it. But then there is an element of, there's certainly like an extravagance of what you can do and get away with on your kind of half of the coin, as it were. Yeah. So it's not a competitive music in like some other cases, but there certainly is some ribbing going on throughout it.
Yeah. But less so. I don't think you were ribbing each other here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was just an observer. So.
Anyway, I'm banging all the questions. How about you? Yes?
Yeah. So it's kind of still with sort of the way you kind of subdivided the ensemble, because like if you take like sort of like large improvised ensembles, a common thing to do to have it make sense is to kind of subdivide them. So like you'll have group A will be a unit, and maybe they'll have a concept, or maybe they won't, or maybe they'll have some constructed or some conversational narrative. Same with group B and group C. And I was just wondering, I guess, this whole idea of did it ever come across the idea about sometimes when you work with that kind of idea, you kind of feel sometimes you have to make them all sync up at some point. And I was just wondering, was that something that did cross your mind? And I guess like, if yes, in what way, and if no, again, in what way?
Do you mean like syncing these different areas?
No, I mean
the people?
syncing the subgroups up as like one kind of like big unit.
Yeah, I think throughout that I always wanted the ensemble to be playing the whole time, and so I wanted all the groups kind of on top of each other, but performing different roles. So I decided that the Kira Kokuta, this kind of 3 rhythm, was solid and unfixable, and then the traditional Txalaparta game, which I kind of failed to mention, is this kind of like natural accelerant, like as people are kind of negotiating their place, it's kind of assumed that you'll speed up and you'll reach this feeling of like Ttakun, like which I think you could kind of recognise in every group. So the way I ordered it was that whoever's on the Ttakun, that's the energy that's guiding the 3 movements. And the Kirikoku is nice and stable, and then the drone is something that's textural and colourful. In terms of like picking who the pairs were, which I think might be your question as well, is that I kind of was a bit prescriptive with it, that it's people that have already played together, and I knew that we'd be able to operate quickly, because we had 2 days of rehearsal a couple of weeks ago, and I just sort of wanted there to be some sort of previous experience. So Sarah and Annie did a session for Fizzle at Samson Studios, and Georgia and Anna had performed together at our Triptychs night down in Sturchley, and similarly Chris and Andrew had recently played together with Mark Sanders, so I knew that there'd be really strong units to give something like a really simple structure, and I knew there would be no kind of negotiation needed other than interpreting that thing. Does that kind of answer?
Yeah.
Nice.